hey, look, I'm back, and there might be even, videos and stuff, so cheers, I guess. Welcome back, everybody, to me doing the weekly navel-gazing, the thing that I recorded last week and couldn't upload, and this is what we're talking about today. In addition, obviously, to all the books I read last week, and the books that I remember from reading the week before, which aren't that many, and of course all the videos I didn't make or didn't make and so forth. So let's just have that, conversation, shall we? Alright, let's start with all the reading. So last week I read The Mercy of Gods. That's the first part of The Captive's War by James S.A. Corey, and it's okay. And I read The Seventh Veil of Salome by Silvia Moreno Garcia, which is brilliant. And I reread Water Sleeps by Glenn Cook, which is very, very good. And I reread Soldiers Live by Glenn Cook, which is also very, very good. But, I already knew that. So that's what I read last week. And I read today, mostly today, Fearing the Black Body by Sabrina Strings, which was a recommendation from another booktuber, and sometimes I do listen to recommendations, and sometimes they turn out to be really, really good. So yeah, thanks Kitty for recommending this. I really enjoyed it. It's, enjoying is probably the wrong way. It's a non-fiction book about how racism and Protestantism and classism sort of are part of what has turned into fat phobia these days, and I certainly learned a lot more stuff about it, and maybe I'll have a use for it later, but at least it has me made somewhat more aware of certain parts of the whole idea of fat phobia. So yeah, I learned something, and that's really good, isn't it? I also read, I finished reading, or in this case, just reading The Most Radical Gesture, the Situationist International in a Postmodern Age by Sadie Plant. That was already the week before. It's a history of the Situationist International, and it's a really, really good academic book. I very much enjoyed reading this one. I learned a lot. It's going to be useful for the big conspiracy video, but it was just also really really good to read this kind of academic book. A well-written academic book can just be a joy into itself, at least for me, when I learn something and it's, written with all the fire and passion that a topic like the Situationist International deserves. So I really, really appreciated that one. And should you be interested in that specific part of mostly 20th century history of art, ideas, and revolution, then I highly recommend this book. I also read large parts of Advances in Semiotics, Reading Eco, which is an anthology of tons of essays, first by Umberto Eco, then about Umberto Eco's philosophy and semiotics, and then about different parts of Umberto Eco's fiction, those being The Name of the Rose, Foucault's Pendulum, and The Island of the Day Before, because this collection came out in 1997, I think, and those were the three of his novels that were out by then. So I read a lot of that, and it was good. I'm sure I read some fiction as well in, the week before, but I honestly am so confused about which books I read in that week that I'm no longer sure what those were, because, time is weird and my brain is even weirder, so I honestly don't know. I'm sorry for that. I'm sure I read fiction as well. Anyway, let's continue and talk about books that I plan to read, and honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I'll have much time to read books in this week, because I'll be traveling a lot, and heavy metal festivals and reading are not necessarily the best of combinations. I'll continue reading essays in that collection about Umberto Eco some more, at least today, and possibly I'll start something, but I'm a bit at a loss right now what kind of fiction to read next. I'm sure something will come up. If you have suggestions, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear them, so I can then actively ignore them or something. So we'll see. I should probably start reading A Fire Upon the Deep by Bernard Vinge, which is something that my offline book club with some friends is reading at the moment, and I haven't started yet. It's definitely a classic of science fiction, and I'm looking forward to reading it. Yeah, we'll see. So that's reading plans right now. Next week's going to be more interesting because that's when Blackheart Man by Nalo Hopkinson comes out. Mark your calendars for the, I think, 20th of August. So yeah, do that. All right, let's talk about videos. Well, I did make the Honest Booktuber tag last week. That's the thing that I made last week. And this week, well, I managed to get out one video, that being my conversation, my discussion, discourse, whatever you want to call it, of the Seventh Veil of Salome, which came out yesterday, because, you know, that's when I had a working computer again, which is sort of well, I had it on Saturday, but it took a while to render the video. So that's a video that came out. I already recorded other videos, and they will come out in the coming days, because I asked you about this, so be prepared. Once again, that's all that I could do last week because, yeah, no computer. So what for videos this week? Well, I'm glad you asked, and for once, I'm sort of almost prepared, aren't I? There will be a video about The Mercy of God by James S.A. Corey, which will come out tomorrow if all goes well. It's already recorded, it's even uploaded. But y'all said you don't want it now, you want to wait, so wait you shall. And there will be videos about both Soldiers Live and Water Sleeps in the opposite order, obviously, because those are the books 8 and 9 in the main sequence of the Black Company, Chronicles of the Black Company, and that does finally finish the main part of my Black Company video series that I started these many years ago. And I'm kind of happy that I'm finally done with it. I am not yet sure if I will also make a video about Ports of Shadow. Those, that being obviously the collection of novellas that came out later than Soldiers Live, and I know a lot of fans of the series are not big fans of Ports of Shadow. I mean, I guess I'll talk about it at some point, but maybe not right now. I just don't feel like more Black Company at the moment, and I think it may even make more sense to have that distance because those novellas are obviously set in a different time period. They are set much earlier in the life of the Black Company, so reading them after the sort of ending of the series so far can be counterproductive. So no Ports of Shadow video yet. If you want me to talk about Ports of Shadow, let me know in the comments, right? I'm getting really good at like farming for engagement, aren't I? So that's videos for this week. There might be another video. I'm thinking about it. I have like 2 sort of like meta videos, but it also depends on like how much time I have to record stuff before I leave. So at least you got Mercy of the Gods, Water Sleeps, and Soldiers Live, possibly more. So that's videos. So let's talk about what happened last week, and let's talk about all the other stuff that's going on at the moment, right? So yeah. My computer died. Like, this has not been a good year for technology and me. Like, first my camera died, or you remember that. Then my phone broke in July, and I had to get it fixed. And then my computer died last week, and I had to get a new one. So once again, thank you everyone who sent me some money. It was really, really appreciated, and I really it helped a lot. I don't have to starve for the rest of the year, of the month, which is, you know, good, I guess. But yeah, computers. And that's kind of the thing, right? Like, it allowed me to continue to listen to audiobooks on my phone, and I could still record videos, but I couldn't actually, you know, do anything for which I needed a working computer. I had like an old, like 10-year-old computer that is just too slow to render videos, to do anything much because it's this old. So I was very much gone from parts of the world, and I think this is something that that has brought me to something I wanted to talk about a while, and maybe I'll do that in a video. Let me know if you're interested in that, because that one might get a bit more personal in a lot of ways, and that's something that, like, we all depend on technology for a lot of things that we do these days, but having a disability, especially a disability like blindness, like me, makes me depend on technology, or dependent on technology in more ways than I feel a lot of other people are, because technology does sort of allow me to do things. It's almost a form of prosthesis in that regard. It allows me to do things that I couldn't otherwise do. So there is a level of dependency there, and not having access to these kind of things definitely increases the feeling of well, blindness. It sounds weird in that regard, but like, definitely has like a mental impact as well, in a lot of ways. And there is more to be talked about there, about like this form of agency, this form of dependency, all of these things. And I have thoughts on that, and it's something I wanted to talk about for a while, sort of in a vague way. But, I try to not talk too much about disability on this channel because it's, I don't want to make this a channel about disability. I don't want to define myself through by being the blind guy that talks about books. A, there are others. B, yeah, there's a lot of internalized ableism there where it's very, very sort of like baked in that I try to not define myself, letting myself be defined through it in a lot of ways. So I try to not talk about those kind of things too much, but I feel like once per year I feel is okay to talk about these kind of topics. And there's this idea of dependency and power imbalance that implies might be worth examining in a video, a like more rambly kind of video. So I don't know, let me know if you want to, if you're interested in that in any way, shape or form, or if you think that's just not interesting enough, or might become too sort of like whiny or whatever you want to call it, let me know. I'm just sometimes very insecure when it comes to talking about these things as well, where I'm like, probably no one wants to hear this, or probably only people that don't want to hear anything else I say want to hear this or whatever. So I'm honestly asking if you're interested in that kind of stuff, right? So that's something that might come up in the future, depending on, how I feel. But yeah, it definitely sort of like led to, once again, like me losing time in a lot of ways, because, and this is definitely part of like the ADHD thing, but also of like all kinds of other parts of like my personality. I'm really bad at keeping momentum going. And once I lose momentum, it's very difficult for me to pick it up again. And I feel like I need to start recording, need to start working on the conspiracy video in earnest real quickly now, because otherwise I'll just lose my momentum, and that would be bad after I've spent so much time talking about it, promising to you guys, and also reading all this stuff. I really should get started on it, but it leads to all these like difficulties that I often have, like finding the right point to start. I still have to sort of figure out how to structure the main narrative in the end. But it's, it's something that, I struggled with for a while. So last week, not having the ability like to start actually working on it in seriousness, like because it would require me to write some stuff and whatnot, gave me the opportunity to read all these other books and get a lot of like just like reading done. I think that's important. But it also means that there's the danger of me losing that momentum, which is, I hope I can recapture some of it by reading all these Umberto Eco essays, which are at least in part connected to it. Unfortunately, only in part, because I'm also incapable of doing selective reading when I do research. Right? It's like, in theory, there's like 2 or 3 essays in this collection that I need. Right? I need, or not necessarily need, but that I assume can be helpful. Those will be, of course, the essays on, or at least some of the essays on Foucault's pendulum, and potentially 1 or 2 of the other essays on Umberto Eco's approach to interpretation and overinterpretation, and obviously his takes on hermetic interpretation and conspiracy theories, which I think can be helpful in a lot of ways. But I'm, for all kinds of reasons, incapable of not reading the whole 400-page collection with all the stuff about semiotics that, and signs and sign functions and all that stuff, which, yeah, I understand most of it because I have studied philosophy, but there's also, a lot of stuff where I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't actually add to my current project, because my current project is not a work on Umberto Eco. It's just Umberto Eco's novel, Foucault's Pendulum, and possibly some parts of his older, not older novel, but a newer novel, The Prague Cemetery, might be sort of helpful there. And I've spoken about The Prague Cemetery before, and I think it's a brilliant book. But yeah, I'm spending a lot of time researching stuff that I won't use, but I'm incapable of just ignoring it, because like having a book where I know that I haven't read a specific essay in that book, I can't do that. There's like a almost like physical reaction in my body when I know this exists. It's very difficult. That's why I never DNF any books. I just can't. But this is like another question. Like, I have so many questions for you today. Here's the thing. I've read a lot of Umberto Eco essays recently for, the larger sort of project, and there's certainly what you might call side effects there. Would you guys be interested in me doing a quick sort of introduction to Umberto Eco's ideas of the open work, interpretation over interpretation, the rights of the reader versus the rights of the author and the rights of the text? Because I think it might be sort of like on that level of what you might call, not fully literary theory, but sort of like certainly something that us here on the internet that talk about books can certainly use. We can agree with it or disagree with it, but knowing those kind of theories out there can be interesting. So I don't know if you're interested in me giving a quick sort of introduction to Umberto Eco's ideas about fiction and reading fiction and how to read fiction. Let me know in the comments, and maybe I'll make one of those in the near future, because for that one, I guess I have read most of the relevant texts already, which, that would be a shorter one. It could be sort of almost like Sunday school videos, which I still have to get back to, but it's slightly different, I guess. But yeah, I thought maybe you're interested in that kind of stuff from someone like me, even though I'm not neither Dr. Fantasy nor Professor Fireballs, and don't have an actual degree in literary theory or English literature in any way, shape, or form. Let me know. It's something I can do on fairly short notice, I think. So yeah, that's kind of where I am. I did ask you in a poll whether you want me to put all those videos up as quickly as they're rendered, or if you want to spread them out over the week. I'll try to spread them out over the week. The problem is I'll be going to Summer Breeze Open Air. If any of you are at Summer Breeze Open Air and you want to meet up for a beer, let me know. The problem with Summer Breeze Open Air is that it's those kind of festivals sometimes have really, really spotty internet connection and phone reception in general. So I either have to sort of like set like publication dates on YouTube for it automatically, or I have to wait for phone reception to actually publish videos that I upload before I leave. So if I realize there's problems with that, I may have to put like everything up at that one moment when I have the phone reception. But at least for tomorrow, we should be safe, because I'll still be in reach of like internet tomorrow, and probably at least the first couple of hours of Wednesday as well. So I guess we'll see how many videos I can get out to you during the week. Worst case, I'll have to sort of like publish the last one on Sunday when I get back into phone reception territory. Obviously, it's like another thing that like I guess, let me know what you think about, is like I have been going back to a lot of festivals recently, and this year in particular, and I'm slowly getting back, becoming slightly more active within like the whole heavy metal stuff. I don't know how much my book reading community here overlaps with people that also listen to heavy metal music. If that's something you want me to do like videos on as well, it's like obviously I could talk about like the connection between heavy metal and fantasy, which is something that exists and most of us know about it. But like, are any of you interested in a more in videos about like music? In this case, mostly heavy metal stuff. Is that something you're interested in? Because if you are, I can totally do like one per month or whatever, one metal video per month or whatever we could do there. I can probably do that if you're interested in it. If not, totally fine. Just thought I'd ask if there is interest in that. Not a market. God, it's not a market. The other thing is I still have to make a video. I watched a video by Library of a Viking, which he titled Why You Shouldn't Trust Booktubers. I watched it. It's a good video. And I said I would have a reply video, and I'm still working on that. Maybe I'll manage to record it tonight or tomorrow morning and also upload it in the next couple of days. Maybe it'll have to wait until next week, because there's a bunch of ideas and thoughts that I've had before about the whole mess. The Neil Gaiman stuff coming up kind of plays into that, and responsibilities of booktubers versus expectations, that kind of stuff. And I wanted to get it right, which, as we all know, is the big curse of my existence, trying to get shit right. So yeah, lots of thoughts, lots of projects. I'm glad I have a new working computer now. I I guess we're back for now. So there's that. Thanks for those who, for helping me. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for being cool people. Let me know in the comments what you did last week, what you read last week, what you plan to do this week, what you plan to read this week, and obviously answers to all my many questions that I asked during this video. And once again, like, thanks for actually sticking around and watching it. I'll see you very, very soon with a lot of other videos. And until then, thanks and cheers.